Can a vegan go to the zoo in good conscience? What if you're like me, you don't eat meat, you don't eat eggs, you don't eat dairy, and you haven't for years actually, that's my situation. But I do go to the zoo. I go to the Nashville Zoo, I've got a season pass for it, lasts a whole year. Just went to the Louisville Zoo. And with a good conscience, I saw the animals, it didn't bother me. How do I justify this, you know? I think what we have to consider is what I'm going to call a new school vegan, meaning that I'm doing this for health reasons. I'm not doing it for animals' rights more than anything else. That's a nice side effect, I admit, but ultimately I'm doing it because I know how much healthier I am. I know that my sinus infections that I had all the time, I don't get them. I'm not allergic to animals anymore. My eczema went away. So that's my inspiration. That's why I continued this lifestyle. And if I ever went back, that'd go away. So an animal activist, I guess you could call them, would tell you all these reasons why zoos are bad. So is that a paradox for somebody like me? Because by default, I am doing something good for animals by not eating them or their byproducts, right? So how do I go to the zoo in good conscience? Well, I'm not here to downplay anything negative people might say about zoos. I'm not here to do that. But ultimately, it's like it sets the stage where somebody like me would be a hypocrite. I'm a vegan who goes to the zoo, right? So that's kind of the assumption, right? It's double standard. How does a vegan go to the zoo? Well, think of it this way. The same people who would say that I'm a hypocrite for being a vegan that goes to the zoo, well then that we'd have to make sure it goes both ways, right? So does that mean that everyone who's an animal rights activist is also a vegan? Because how could anyone judge me for saying, you're a vegan but you go to the zoo, you support the zoo? So then I would just simply say back, so you're against zoos but you eat animals and you eat their byproducts, even though nutrition wise it's not necessary? And they just, oh, but it is, you gotta have protein. And then I was like, well, look at me, been a vegan for 4.5 years, been a vegetarian for 5.5. I'm perfectly in my height, age range that I'm supposed to be. So, I mean, I know that's not true to say that you have to have all that. But it's just funny because I think I think that's why, too, that no one in my blog has ever given me a hard time about going to the zoos and supporting zoos. Because they're not vegans. Now, if I find someone who is a vegan and doesn't go to the zoos, then absolutely they'd have a right to talk. I wouldn't listen because ultimately it's not an argument for me. But this video is for anyone out there who wants to know how in good conscience I can go to the zoo and be a vegan. Probably only like 2 people watch this. No one's actually, will anybody even watch this? Probably not.